Today we're going to show you how to set up your RockPAR50 RGB DMX wash par light. These are perfect for wall washing, setting the mood for any live performances, for video shoots, for dance clubs, parties, DJ setups, and much more. They are available in two different colors of black and white, but the setup for each color is exactly the same. So when you open up your box, you get the light itself, an attachable dual bracket so you can hang the light on a truss or angle it in different positions from the ground, and the power cable to power the light. So one of the first things we can do to set up our light is attach the dual bracket. To do that, we'll line up the bracket with these two screw holes on the side of the light. Then we'll take the screw knobs and feed them through the holes on the bracket. Now before we screw it in, we'll want to take our washers and feed them on the other side of the screw knobs. After that, we can tighten the knobs on the light to lock it into place. This is very important if you want to use the light for wall washing, so let's talk about wall washing setups really quick. So when you are using the RockPAR50 for wall washing to create a cool ambience, you can either use the rubber feet on the bottom of the light to have the light shine completely up, or you can use the dual brackets to angle it towards your wall. If you are using the rubber feet, you're going to want to take your light and just place it flush against the wall like this. And if you're going to angle it, you're actually going to want it a couple inches away from the wall, and then angle the light onto the wall till you find the perfect angle you want. And once you have it in the wall washing position, you can use this light in any of the light modes, but we'll get to those modes in a little bit. Now the dual bracket is really cool because on top of using it on the floor, it also allows us to truss mount our light. For a truss mount setup, we will need a lighting clamp like the Rockville LC70. To attach the par light to the clamp, you're going to first take this bolt out of the light clamp, and then you're going to run it through these two holes on our dual bracket and screw it back into the light clamp like this. Then to attach the light clamp to the truss, you're going to loosen this screw here, hook it onto the truss, and then tighten this screw to clamp it into place. A quick note about truss setups is you need to make sure there is power on the truss so you can plug your light into it. Now another setup that uses the rubber feet on the bottom of your par light is when you are using your light in a totem stand or to illuminate a DJ facade. To use the RockPAR in a totem stand like one of our Rockville totem stands, all you do is lift up the scrim and place the RockPAR in the center of the totem like so. Since you won't need the dual bracket for this setup, you can take it off. For setting up your par light with a DJ facade, it is very similar to the wall washing setup. You're going to take your par light and line it up flush with the inside of your DJ facade. And then depending on how big your facade is, you can use multiple par lights for a much more illuminating effect. Now there are several different light mode options on the RockPAR50 that we can toggle through with the buttons under the LED display on the bottom of the light. And we can use all of these different modes in all of the different setups we talked about already. To change the mode, you just click the mode button here. And then when you are in the mode, you can go up and down on the numbers using these buttons here, and then press enter to set any changes you've made. There is a sound mode labeled sound that will change the color of the light whenever the light picks up sound from the built-in microphone. The P mode acts as our automatic color change mode, and we can press up and down to control the speed in which the colors switch. The L mode acts as the color fade mode. We can press up and down on the buttons to adjust the speed of the fade. The F mode acts as the strobe mode. We can press up and down on the buttons to adjust the speed of the flash. And since this is an RGB light, there are three different options where we can adjust the intensity of either the red LEDs, the green LEDs, or the blue LEDs. Now there are two DMX modes that you can use if you want to use your RockPAR50 with a DMX controller. The benefits of using your light with the DMX controller is that you can create a synchronized lighting effect if you daisy chain multiple par lights together and control them off of one controller. The D mode acts as our 6-channel DMX mode, and the A mode acts as our 3-channel DMX mode. Now to hook up your RockPAR50 with a DMX controller, you are going to need a DMX controller and a DMX cable. Plug this end of the DMX cable into your controller, and then plug the other end into your RockPAR50 over here. Now you're going to want to make sure your RockPAR50 is in one of the two DMX modes. In this video, we'll be using the D mode. So you're going to want to make sure you set your DMX address on your RockPAR50 to D001 and then click enter. Now on your DMX controller, you'll want to make sure that all of your scanners are turned on. So click all of these buttons on. And now we can go through the settings. So if I raise fader 1 here, it's the master fader for the light. So you'll want to leave it all the way up, and then you can raise fader 2 and it'll bring up the red LEDs. Fader 3 controls the green LEDs, and fader 4 controls the blue LEDs. So depending on where you leave each fader will determine the intensity of that color's LED. And remember, if I want to turn off the whole light completely, I can lower fader 1, which is the master fader. Now fader 5 will control the different modes. So when you move your fader up and down, it corresponds to a number on the screen here on your DMX controller. And depending on where you set fader 5, it'll activate a specific mode. For example, if I set fader 5 to 101 on the screen, it will put the light into color fade mode. You can see the complete cheat sheet for fader 5 here. Now fader 6 is the strobe mode, which you can make strobe faster or slower depending on where the fader is set. Now I mentioned before DMX mode is great for controlling multiple PAR lights at the same time. So if you want to add another RockPAR50 to control, you just take another DMX cable and plug this end into the DMX out on the first RockPAR50, and then plug the other end over here into the DMX in on your second RockPAR50. Then make sure your second RockPAR50 is also set to D001, and you'll now be able to control both lights with your DMX controller's faders. The RockPAR50 is an extremely versatile PAR light that can be used in a variety of different setups as we showed, and hopefully this video showed you how easy it is to set up your RockPAR50. But of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support tech team through phone or email. We'll see you guys in the next one.